Hello, it's Chris Worden, First Business Rescue. My earlier video was very laggy and you couldn't tell what I was saying a lot of the time, so I'm going to do it again now. The video is about when you might be made personally liable for company. Obviously, a lot of directors coming months and a year or so may have to close a limited company. And although a limited company gives you certain protection, there are certain circumstances where you're going to be made personally liable for some or all of company debts. And I want to go through a few of those so you are sort of forewarned. The first time, one of the first circumstances where you're going to be made personally liable for some or all of a company's debt is when you've misused a bounce back loan. If you took a bounce back loan, it had to be spent for the benefit of the company. And if you've spent it anything other than the benefit of the company, you're going to be asked to repay it back if you go into liquidation. So examples of that are you've bought a new buy-to-let house, you put an extension on your current house, you've bought a car, you've spent it on lavish holidays. These are all examples where in an insolvency procedure you're going to be asked to make that payment back. Remember, it's taxpayers' money. There's a lot of scrutiny on these right now. Another circumstance where you be a personal guarantee. So you could have you might have signed a personal guarantee for a bank loan to sign personal guarantees because the supplier knows that a limited company structure means the director, if they liquidate your debts, will be, say you're a builder and you've got an account at Jewson's or Travis Perkins, have been made to sign a personal guarantee. Also, lending institutions, IWOCA, Fleximize, merchant terminal advances, it's highly likely that you've signed a personal guarantee when you've took these funds out. So just so you're aware, if you do go into an insolvency, be back to negotiate with that creditor. In 99% of cases, the company that you've signed a personal guarantee with will accept. They'll restructure it into another loan. Another example where you could be made personally liable for company debt is an overdrawn. I've done many videos about these detail, but essentially an overdrawn loan account is when you've paid yourself too much money from the company. Normally, people will take a small amount of salary as dividends, which is normal times is the best way and most tax efficient way for a director to take his income. But if your company is not profitable or it's making less profit than it normally does, it's highly likely if you've continued to take drawings out of that company, you may have ended up with an overdrawn director's loan account. This becomes particularly problematic in an insolvency situation because that overdrawn director's loan account is seen as an asset of the company, and every insolvency practitioner in the UK is duty bound to recover that money from the director, disperse it to creditors. So remember, check that and don't just check on your last set. It's handy to analyze this before you decide to appoint an insolvency practitioner. Remember, if you've got one, it's important to deal with it in a proactive manner. Another reason how you could be made personally liable for some of the company debts is wrongful or fraudulent trading. So when you become insolvent, so you can't pay your debts when they fall due, or your liabilities are more than your assets, your responsibilities change and you cannot make the creditor's positions any worse. Your decisions need to be in the creditor's interests. So for instance, wrongful trading, you continue to trade months after you become insolvent and you decide to pay certain suppliers over other suppliers. Perhaps the guy down the road that you've dealt with for 15 years, you pay his bill, but you don't pay the other people's bills, or you decide to pay one of your family members a loan that they've lent you, or you pay yourself back a loan in preference of everyone else. This could all be classed as wrongful trading or a preference payment, and potentially you could be on the hook for some of those debts. Another thing that you need to be careful of is selling assets under value. It's called transactions under value. So let's say you have an insolvent company and you've decided to start a new company and buy the assets of the insolvent company. Well, the principle's okay. It's called a pre-pack liquidation. But you've got to pay fair value for those assets. And that means you really need to get an independent valuation done and make sure a solicitor is involved to do the sale transfer. But if you are found to have taken those assets out of the company vastly undervalued, well, the insolvency practitioner could come for you personally for the difference. So be careful there. If you're looking at a pre-pack liquidation, make sure you take some advice early and follow the guidance strictly. I think I want to end on this. If you've become insolvent, it's important you put the interests of the creditors first. Take advice early. Don't bury your head in the sand. The earlier that you speak to somebody, the more likely there's going to be a better outcome for you and the company and the creditors. So I hope you found the video useful. I hope you've been able to listen to it all in its entirety. I'm going to be doing a webinar next Tuesday at 12 o'clock. That's 12 o'clock on the 12th of October to explain how you close a company and answering all your questions. So if you would like to join us on that webinar, I'm going to be dropping a link in the comment section below.